is talking about.
Here we go, y'all. You won't get this on CNN or ABC News or Nightline.
There we go.
They won't talk about this on Fox. I bet they won't talk about this on Fox.
They scared.
It's about to go down. What's up,
man? Chilling, man. Chilling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daryl Dawson, the owner of Grindstone Clothing. So, man, let's jump right into it. Now, you've always been privy of knowing what some of these brands think and how they operate and how they target the Black community. And I know you, in a clothing designer yourself, that it has to be very frustrating to you to see Black people flock to these designers who show a lot of discontent for them, but contempt for them. How do you feel about that?
Well, the whole thing, I know. All right, so this is my 20th year in business doing this fashion thing, right? And so I studied the people who've been killing it. You know, I've been studying, and the more you learn, the more layers you pull back, the uglier it gets. So Ralph Lifschnitz, aka Ralph Lauren, he created Polo for something that was exclusionary, because niggas don't play polo. Niggas don't play cricket. Like, niggas don't play highlight.
Not niggas, Black people.
Kings. There we go. That's the word, 2019. Kings don't play, right. So the basis of his creation for Polo was to exclude those who can't do it. And for that reason, I guess the grass seemed greener, everybody flocked to Polo. Now, I've worn Polo. I mean, I was heavy Polo in my teenage years and all that. But, you know, I kind of stopped chasing Polo, and I'm not going to hate on Ralph Lauren because that's not my place, but I do appreciate Lowlifes. So Lowlifes is a clique up in New York with Thurston Howell and many of those dudes who they went and they just started stealing all the Polo, and then they got everybody hip to Polo and made the world come deal with what they had on deck. And I appreciate how Ralph Lauren bowed down to them because they was just so slick at taking everything. They was like, you're not gonna leave me out. I'm taking it and I'm gonna flip it. But what they did, they ended up being real good marketing for the actual Ralph Lauren brand. And the fact is, the hood and the streets is what supports Ralph Lauren, Gucci, Prada, Louis. I don't have nothing bad to say about Louis. I don't know no dirt on Louis, but I know that all except for their leather is fake, is vinyl. But this ain't a time for me to say anything other than what's true. And people break themselves, like literally break themselves to wear clothes that make them look more European. The reason why these pants be hanging off brothers' asses is because they're not cut for them. So then people decide to wear them just however they could to fit in, because they're not even made for you. Them dudes are made for 110-pound dudes with heroin problems in Europe. That's what they created for. And so,
well, not everybody got heroin.
Hey, I'm just right. But
the bottom line is that they're not made for Black men who got, they're not made for our bodies. Those type of pants are not made for our bodies.
They not. And then so we go so hard. And I mean, I've ran through all the designer brands, wearing them. They've been in my closet, all that. But it really don't make sense how much the stuff costs for me to be somebody who makes clothes. Like, so I can have a mercerized cotton t-shirt. I know how much it costs. They have a mercerized cotton t-shirt. When the customer comes to get it, it costs a lot more. And the customer comes in to try to remove themselves from the poverty element that they live around to try to look extra rich, but really you just made yourself extra broke for some cotton. And don't get me wrong, I've been part of that way. I get it. But they don't love us. Gucci came out with Gucci and Prada in the past year. Well, Gucci just came out with theirs, but they came out with the a blackface Jim Crow
Swear.
line.
What
Prada
was that?
had little, huh?
Say that again.
They just came out with a blackface Jim Crow line. Like that was the theme of what they just came out with. Like things looking like you know what white America used to make fun of black people back in the day. And so for some reason, blackface is really fun for white people. Like, I mean, I thought spray tans was enough, but now they just going all the way in on the blackface. And what it does, it is poking fun at black people, not only because of the history, but it's poking fun and daring us to spend the money on what they charge to make fun of us. So they
tell the audience what the process is when a line decides that they want to have a new creation. What is the process from the time that they think of that idea to the time that that product actually hits the shelf?
Man, if you're doing it right, it's 18 months. And so,
okay.
So
this case, somebody just get a wild hand and say, "Oh, I got an idea. I'm gonna do blackface," and it comes out next week.
Nah, it ain't nothing like that. See, so most of the manufacturers aren't where the creator of it is. So it's some shipping involved and all that. But the first thing you got to do, you got to come out with a release date calendar. So you're mapping out a year to a year and a half in advance of what you're gonna have available to the customer. Then you got to brainstorm with the team or whatever. What's the theme of this release? So you have people pitching in and all that. Then you got to come up with sketches for it to fill it out, to kind of flesh out the idea. Then you got to figure out the materials. So you're going back and forth with manufacturers. And so it's not just the idea that happens one day and it happens. And then from that point, you get samples. You got to approve of the samples. You got to have meetings with your team. You got to have another sample made. You got to take it to shows and fashion shows, trade shows. Then it gets distributed and then people buy it. But it's so many months in between one process and the customer seeing it that these blackface ideas that Prada came out with, that Montclair came out with, that that Gucci came out with, they want you to break yourselves. It's almost like a fool's bet, like the movie Trading Places. You know, they want to see how ridiculous their money-making schemes can be, and they sit back and laugh. We sit back and break ourselves and then act like we're better than our neighbor because we're the joke. We're the butt of the joke. Just spend $500 to $1,500 on something and walk around thinking we better than our neighbor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am speaking with Darryl Dawson, the owner of Grindstone Clothing in DC. If you want some good clothes, and I wear this, I wouldn't even vouch for it if I didn't wear this stuff. But if you want some cool clothes to put on, if you want to deal with somebody who is respected in the community and who respects the community, who has a lot of integrity and does what he do with the community in mind, holla at him. Go online and look up Grindstone Clothing and be the judge for yourself. Yep. So when these brands start saying things like, "We didn't know," that happened, it was an oversight.
Yeah.
Basically, they're lying.
They're fully lying.
What's going on?
And see, I gotta give this to them. They have studied us. So they know how forgiving we are. So if they come out with the proper, just like in the Super Bowl, if they come out with the proper apology, put a couple people in place to just gloss over it, we'll be okay. And then the idea will be, well, those people, they made a mistake, they apologize, we got to forgive. They know we'll do that. Now, I know a lot of grown Jewish people who will not buy a Mercedes because it's German manufactured. Like, I know people who hold Germany, like Jewish people who hold Germany, they still hold their feet to the fire for the Holocaust and will not buy a Benz.
Yeah. And we're talking about almost 70 years later.
Wait, somebody called me. I lost you. You said we talking about what?
We're talking about almost 70 years later.
Man, straight up. Yeah. and we go.
Yeah, but they love to tell black people why we keep bringing up the past. Why y'all keep bringing up the past?
And we go for that. And see, at the National Holocaust Museum out here in D.C., in front of the museum in big letters, it says, never forget. So everybody else is taught to never forget, and then we're influenced with why we keep bringing up the past.
Including most recently, the Never Forget campaign is the Twin Towers. Never forget. That's their thing.
Real. Yeah.
And every year, it's 9/11 celebration. They read it over and over. Every single year, it's major celebrations all around the country. 9/11, 9/11, 9/11.
Yeah.
Never forget. Never forget. But when there is an atrocity against black people, it's why you keep bringing up the past. Why you treat? Let me tell y'all something for the ones who don't know. The oppressor don't get the right to tell you how to feel about your pain. The oppressor gets the right. And who the hell listens to their oppressor? Who listens to their enemy? Who takes advice from their enemy?
Man, crazy. I mean, we shouldn't be taking our enemies
in the world.
Man, we shouldn't be taking our enemies' food, religion, none of that. Like we take our enemies' food, our enemies' religion, our enemies' customs that we carry in our homes for certain times of the year, and we wear our enemies' clothes when they are saying, I am your oppressor, put this on. That's what Gucci and Prada and Moncler have done. That's what they're doing. And for some reason, we don't understand that. And if we look at that, how the black dollar circulates, as soon as somebody hits a lick, they rush to get it out of the community into the hands of somebody who makes fun of us. And it's ridiculous. I mean, I know dudes.
Show the audience who was telling me about Neiman Marcus, the way that they categorize their buyers.
Man, so a person who's close to me, who I can't reveal to protect the names of the innocent, is a very integral part of a high-end brand that is showcased in Neiman's. And so as everybody tries to figure out in retail how to get around the internet dominance of people buying clothes, even Neiman's, with all those names and name brands, they have to keep retooling themselves. So their market research has pinned the customers down to the Asians are the ones who come in and buy the bags. The white ladies are the ones who buy the cosmetics. The black people are the ones who come in.
I missed the last part.
So when the black people come in and buy,
go back. I missed the last part. I think the man is trying to stop us from putting this information out there.
Oh yeah.
So say that. Say it again, man, because it got broken up.
Oh, it got broken up. All right. Asians come in Neiman's, and they're the ones who spend the most money on the bags. That's usually when they walk in the door, they could be directed towards the bags. The white ladies come in, they spend a lot of money on the cosmetics. And the black people come in and spend a lot of money on the clothes. So Neiman's clothing, high-end clothing customer who walks out with a lot of bags, for the most part, is a black person who smells like weed. And that's what it is. And they've been discriminated against for a long time because of the nuance, that maybe the jewelry or whatever. But they realize that as they do their real defined market research, they are the ones blowing the whole bag in that store. And so,
Go ahead, Darren.
No, so as the people who make the clothes, the designers, know that these are major outlets for their clothing, they pull these tricks like, man, let's just see what kind of trick we could play on this customer, even though that customer is the blood of our business. Like, without the black consumer, these high-end customers will be in Target. I mean, it's not customers, these high-end brands with being targeted.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
know it. And it's like they pulling a magic trick on us and we just keep going for it. Like Louis Vuitton, and people have like a lot of Louis bags and all that stuff. That's not even leather. Like that's the same material they use to make fake baseballs on baseball giveaway day at the ballpark. And they just printed on it. It's like, it's crazy.
Hey, so my man Ed Mishaw says, what's the fix?
Man, the fix is, all right, so you know where I'm from, right? So I'm from Oakland, raised by the,
stand up.
yeah, man, raised by the Panthers and all the get down. So we, you know, Oakland is a diverse place, but one thing that everybody got in them is an understanding of community and community spending. And so what we need to do is spend with ourselves, with people who have comparable businesses, and some of our businesses are superior to. Now, we might not have superior marketing, but our products are superior to what we see in the mainstream. We have got to spend with one another when we see somebody who has mastered what they do. And when we do that, we will increase our power indefinitely. We will be able to call our shots. We will be able to do what we want. But somebody going outside of the community, and when I say going outside of the community, I mean financially, like spending whatever you might spend on Louis, Gucci, Prada, all that stuff, that money circulated in the Black community is something that would employ more people. It would have less of a reason for somebody to try to walk around and protect themselves, because this person who was employed don't have to climb through a window no more to come get you, you know. And so in Kwanzaa, Mr. Karenga came up with what's called the Nguzo Saba. And Kwanzaa has 7 principles. The first one is Umoja, unity. And then, I mean, we have Kujichagulia, self-determination. But Ujamaa is one that I like them all, but Ujamaa is one that's cooperative economics. And if we build cooperatively, like if you are down the street and you got healthy food or whatever, I'm shopping with you. If this person down here has a hardware store and they Black and I know it, I'm going out my way to go fool with them. If I got the designer clothes and if this other person is selling music or whatever, we have to build ourselves like that. And our desire to be European is something that has been impressed upon us to the point where we would literally die to be European. Like, give up everything. People would give up everything to be mistaken for somebody who is European. And it's just crazy, but the solution is we have to change our spending habits. And I'm not even saying spend less money. I'm just saying when that money's about to go, spend it with somebody Black who could really service you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to talk somebody out of Louis print, Gucci print, or any kind of a Prada tag, because we have understood that when you have that, you are better than your neighbor.
The thing about it is this. The only people who's really impressed by that shit are people who ain't got shit. You know, people who are very shallow. You know, like, because I'm going to tell you, you know, the stuff looks good. I ain't going to lie. Some of the stuff looks good, but it ain't worth the price tag to me. So, you know, even my son, I have to tell my son, hey, where you spend your money on that shit, man? Why would you know, like, and he'll drop that bread like it ain't nothing, man. He like, we walking to the mall, and he walks straight into the Gucci store, straight into the I'm like, man, like, dude. But I gotta admit, there was a time I was like that too. I used to buy the $1,500 shirts and the $3,000 suits and all that old silly shit. Absolutely. And the thing about it is that when you buy that type of stuff, you can't wear it but 1 or 2 times, because you buy something that costs $1,500, everybody, it's gonna say that costs about $1,500.
Yeah, you looking crazy popping up in the picture with your same shirt. You looking crazy.
Yeah. So it don't make a lot of sense to me, man, but I had to figure it out. I had to learn. I figured it out. I like, it don't make sense if you sitting on If all you got is let's say you got 100,000 in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
If you got 100,000 in the bank and you spend $1,500 shopping,
yeah,
you can spend 1.5% of your net worth.
Yep.
You
And see,
spend
let me tell you, to all the hustlers,
all your money on clothes.
Yeah, no, that's real. And let me tell you, to all the hustlers out there, that is some street shit. But to all the hustlers out there, how you walking around with a $900 belt, but you still got to get fronted? Like, how you still begging for what it's gonna take to make you money, but you done went out here and paid this man who making fun of you every last penny he asked for something that makes you no money? What kind of economics you on? What you even doing? Like, who's hustling who?
I'm gonna show you how to find one of the ways that you can identify a poor man.
Yeah.
When the stuff that he have in his closet costs is worth more than what he have in the bank.
That's real.
If the clothes in your closet cost more than what you got in the bank, something wrong.
Yeah, that's real.
And I had to learn that the hard way. When I got off I tried to get rid of some of the clothes that I had once, and
right.
It was this girl that was involved in reselling, and I was like, well, yeah, this take, man, I paid $1,000 for this, I paid $800 for this, I paid $2,000 for these. Yeah. Man, she was getting them prices back, man. I'm talking about you'd be lucky to get 1% of what you paid for those clothes back. If you spend $1,000 on a shirt, you'd be lucky to get, $100 back on that same shirt.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of these places you can get a little bit more, but besides clothing, besides jewelry, clothing is one of the worst things that you can actually invest your money in. You just don't see the return. And
yeah.
I would feel real stupid if I look into my closet and I got all this stuff in here that I paid thousands of dollars for, or hundreds of dollars for.
Yeah.
But I ain't got no job, or I'm broke and I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my light bill.
Yep.
But I got $10,000 worth of clothes in the closet. It ain't worth $1,000 anymore. But I paid $10,000. But I can't pay a $50 light bill, a $200 light bill.
Yeah,
I can't pay my rent.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So like, what we had to do, we gotta re-engineer what we see as great, and everybody who seeks the plug in their life or seeks out whatever the source is, if they understood how clothing is made, you would understand you would get upcharged something absolutely crazy. Like the upcharge on something, or anything cotton that costs $500. Usually that brand has something, just brand awareness that's out of this world. Because of that, they pay less. So you might be spending, it cost them $8 to make that shirt, and depending on the brand, you $500 to $700 purchasing that shirt. You the fool. And it's cool if you want to loss and get it, but who are you impressing with? Like, what you doing?
But here's the thing. This is the way I think. Whatever kind of product you have, I ain't mad at the person who charged $1,000 for something that only cost them $1 to make. I'm not mad at that. Like that's capitalism. That's about getting paid. If you got somebody, I'm gonna tell you, throughout the years, we charged about $10 for our CDs, $10, $15 for our CDs. Look, I put some $1 million game in them CDs.
Yeah.
We put $1 million game in those CDs.
Yeah.
If I could charge $1 million for each one of them CDs, you better believe I would have charged $1 million.
Oh, absolutely. See,
I can take the money. I can take the money that I make and do something for the community with the money that I made off the people who spent $1 million. But hey, man, I'm not mad at the people who charge, who bring those prices up to a level where only a select few can afford them. It's the same thing with a Bugatti. I ain't mad at the person who charged $2 million for a Bugatti.
Me neither.
Or the person who charged $600,000 for a Rolls,
Yeah.
If you put a price on your product and you say this, what your product is only worth what you say it's worth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So like my problem with people who, a lot of black people who support these brands, that it is the brands don't support the black community.
At all.
And the brands shit on the black community, and they don't feel nothing. They're heartless toward the black community. They're indifferent toward the black community. And you got black people out here that swear by those brands and like, I don't wear nothing but, I don't wear nothing but, I don't wear nothing. Some of them don't wear. Some of them wear a certain brand, a select brand, so much that they nickname them Gucci.
Yeah, man.
They call them Polo.
Already. Yeah.
That's Polo.
What's up, and the cold part, yeah, man, the cold part about it. Yeah, man, the cold part about it is that person, see, this is the whole psychology behind it. Man made it to leave you out. So for you to aspire to be like them, to be let in, that's defiance. Like table that don't want you. Oh, broke up. Yeah, and you will break yourself to sit at that. It's so omnipresent in our community that we've accepted it, but it's corny as, man, it's corny as fuck. You know?
Yeah.
And people just gotta grow out of that, because we are not honoring anything that we supposed to be. Like, I know niggas, Kings. I know King. Hey, that's a 2019. I be trying to edit myself. But I know people who cannot pay anything on time for their child, but they got all the new Gucci latest drip, whatever is just released before somebody they got it, but they not doing the stuff for their child. I know people who are doing everything for their children, like, you know, and then they buy Gucci and we gonna it's Gucci's turn. We gonna get all on Gucci because they think that, okay, now I'm gonna sit at this table with these white people in this white restaurant, and they're gonna respect my Gucci clothes. And and one of the things I learned a long time ago when I started stepping out of my circle, man, in the most rich people's houses, the most expensive things in their house is on the floor and on the walls. So you be standing on some rugs from the 20s or 30s or whatever that they could redeem for an appreciated value. The art on their walls, they could redeem for an appreciated value. And when I learned that, it blew me away. I was like, damn, you can't even rob them. You know what you're gonna do, walk out with a 40 by 30 piece of art? You know, you can't even rob them. And so,
hey, what do you think about what do you think about Killer Mike's new show? You seen it yet?
I saw it.
You know, told me to check it out. Wasn't that you that told me to check out Killer Mike's show?
Yeah, I did.
You?
I did. I like when I heard
what's
that.
What's called Trigger what?
It's called Trigger Warning.
Trigger Warning. Yeah, y'all check that, man.
Yeah. I like that.
Only one episode I couldn't get with. I ain't gonna tell you which one. Y'all figure it out.
Okay. Oh yeah, I already know. Yeah.
But all the other ones, oh man, yeah. Mike talking that group economics thing. He right on point with that.
He is, man, and I really loved the first. I like the first episode the most. When, like, you know, he was, I'm gonna live black for 3 days or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's funny because the other day my man told me at the Super Bowl that QC, the label with Coach and all them, they spent $250,000 in a strip club, and I was like, that's black power, you know, because those strippers, I mean, I'm sure it was an all black joint, you know, in Atlanta, but they gonna go and make something for themselves as long as they don't circulate that dollar right up out of there to you know, to Gucci, Prada, and all that.
Yeah, give it to Gucci.
Yeah, you know, please don't do that. Like we got our go. We got our chance right now. Every day we vote with our dollar. We got our chance. And I just think that we got to understand that all the inequities that we have financially, we can correct. It's gonna take time, but enough money comes through our hands, we could correct that. Now, it's certain opportunities where people on a higher level of government or whatever, that's a harder egg to crack. But we could push the financial envelope if we stop trying to be like the ones who hate us. We retarded for that. We're like, what are we even doing? We trying to be like the people who hate us. And they telling us, we don't like you, we gonna make fun of you, but this costs $750. So we gotta cut.
What tripped me out, I'm gonna say this and then we can wrap it up. What trips me out is when you walk into those type of places, always, you know, they have like a suspicious eye. I've sat off to the side and watched some of these dudes walk in these stores.
Yeah.
You know, with pants hanging off, the ones you described that were, you know, smelling like weed, and you really ain't got to be having your pants hanging off and smelling like weed. But you know, I've seen how I've stepped off to the side and watched how they view these people, and they just have like a shitty look on their face, like, what are you doing in here? And I don't go where I'm unwelcome. I just don't want to be in places where I feel like I feel a certain way about my money, man.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I vote with my dollar, man. I vote with my dollar. Where I spend is because I give you thumbs up.
I got a real appreciation about my money, and if I feel like somebody don't respect it, they can't have it. They can't get it. No way possible. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on the show, man, and sharing your wisdom, man, because a lot of these people out here need to damn wake up, man. I don't understand it. I think we're gonna catch some. I hopefully we've converted at least a couple of them out there, and they'll see this video and be like, yeah, man, I am a damn fool. And maybe they'll see it and be like, oh man, you know, or maybe I was tripping, you know, because I was a damn fool. I ain't trying to act like I'm better enough. I mean, we all, I think, not even gonna say we all, but many of us have been in that phase at some point in our lives. And at some point, hopefully you wake up. So I was a damn fool for a long time, but actually it wasn't a long time. It hit me for about 2-3 years, but after that, I was like, whoa, pump your brakes, youngster.
Hey, let me tell you a quick one. So when I first got a Rolex, right? I was like, I got it, and it was something happening in Miami. I was about to go down to Miami.
Busted down.
Man, I busted down, right? This was before the recession, right? So I bust my Rolex down. I had some nice joints in it. So then I went to a Rolex shop, and I was like, man, what's this worth? You know, these diamonds is blue. Like, what's this worth? They was like, oh, you opened it up. We can't give you nothing for it. I was like,
we don't even want you. We feel disrespected that you brought this bullshit in here.
Oh, I could not believe that. And so that was a huge lesson for me. So now, you know, it's to show off and you know, whatever, but it ain't worth nothing.
That's why when I bought my son his Rolex, I was like, look, I'm gonna keep it clean. I ain't gonna lie, the diamonds and stuff that do look good.
Right.
But what's most practical and what will hold its value longer?
Yeah.
And that's one that's not bust down. So this is a Rolex. My son is in business school. And so this is a watch that he can wear to meetings. You know, he can wear to meetings, he can wear when he go out, you know, he can wear, you know, just around the house if he choose. And it's a watch that's going to maintain its value. But the bust down thing, man, if you type of person that just don't mind wasting money, and when I bought my bust down Rolex, I ain't saying that I would ever bust down Rolex.
Right.
My first Rolex I bought for myself, it was bust down, and man, I got off that thing and it wasn't worth nothing. But hey, man, you live and you learn. Huh?
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming on the show, man. Lara Dawson, the owner of Grindstone Clothing. Y'all follow Grindstone Clothing, and more importantly, support it.
That's right.
What the haters talking about?